Uncanny X-Men 353. I was a little reluctant about this time. This was after the Trial of Gambit, which I believe happened in Uncanny X-Men 350. But what I really do enjoy is, I think at this time Scott Liddell had stepped off the book, or at least for this particular issue. This is Steve Seagle writing. And remember, after Rogue kind of left Gambit in Antarctica, she started kind of going through this existential crisis. And that's what it means when it says the gloves are off. And one thing I loved about this era of the X-Men, this was March 1998, is they would give you the previously, and a lot of them would just give you the one page. But there were some. This one, unfortunately, has a very horrible ad in it. But it would kind of give you a breakdown of everything that was happening across all the X books, so you wouldn't feel 100% lost. So in this one, again, we're focusing on Rogue. And we see that she's standing in front of Wolverine. At this point, we don't know if it's reality or a dream. And it says it's the human touch that matters. And we see her, she's thinking, what am I doing? And then we see Logan go, Rogue? And we're thinking, what the hell's going on here? Are we back to the old Brotherhood of Evil Mutants era? Because remember, Rogue initially was not a hero. She was part of Mystique's Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. But because of everything that happened with Carol Danvers, her psyche started to fracture, and that's why she became part of the team. And we see she grabs Wolverine and he goes, Rogue, no! Sorry, Wolvie, but I have to touch you. I need your life, your thoughts, your powers. He goes, maybe, girl, but this ain't the way to go about it. And it kind of gets into a fight. It's the human touch that can change the world from something you know into something you don't in a heartbeat. You shouldn't have done that, sugar. Now I'm going to have to hurt you. And we see that Wolverine just straight up impels her. And at this point, we realize that it was just a dream. It's the human touch is sacred, except for the mutant X-Man known as Rogue, for whom it is a curse, a barrier that sets her apart from every other living being on the earth. A vampire's kiss that, if not kept in check, steals memories, abilities, the very life essence of anyone it contacts. Though luckily, this touch was nothing more than a dream. And here, I feel very Claremont-esque because Storm is leading the X-Men again, and it's Rogue, Wolverine, kind of the Australian X-Men era. As I came to see if I might offer some relief. It sounded like you were having a nightmare. Thoughts of Gambit that refused to leave you. You said you absorbed some of his persona. Perhaps the decision to leave him was as much his as yours, if not more so. It wasn't that. At least, I don't think it was. It's just... And so she said, you got a minute to talk, Aurora. And this is when I will say that talking in comics, like overabundance of word balloons, gives you that emotional touch. And in this one, her and Rogue actually have a heart to heart. But here we go. This issue is called Blackbirds. This is Steve Seagle writing, Chris Bachalo doing the art, Tim Townsend doing the ink, and Richard Starkings and Comicraft doing the lettering. And another thing about this that's kind of the leftover from the Claremont X-Men era is we get the main plot, but then we kind of get some meanwhile type things. So it says, the nature of fun is is to have some. You need to be of a mind to have it. High above New York City, on the rooftop garden of his apartment, X-Men, Warren Worthington, an angel to some, is as mentally as far away from fun as a man can be. So Warren's been, at this point, has really kind of been going through some stuff, and it's really wearing on him and Psylocke's relationship. And she's trying to get him out of his funk, to the point that she actually jumps from their apartment. He goes, I sure don't know how you can believe you do. But I do know one thing. I don't appreciate what you just did. You're going to find it a lot harder to survive your next fall if there's no one there catch you. And then Psylocke says, you just don't like that I made you see the truth in yourself more. And then we kind of get a moment. Rogue decides to, since this is wintertime, she sets up one of her weather things so everyone can go and have time to relax. Because at this point, we've had, I think, if I'm wrong, feel free to make fun of me down in the comments, but I believe we've had Onslaught, we've had Operation Zero Tolerance, and so the X-Men are scattered, and I believe Xavier's missing at this point. It may be leading up to Zero Tolerance at this point. So even though they're having some fun, which they desperately need at this point, everyone's kind of grinding on one another. And Wolverine escapes. He's like, "This is too much. I need to get some air." And he sees someone coming up to the mansion. And just when we think that it might be a threat, sometimes when you do that subversion of expectations, it can be fun. And she goes, "My name is Margaret Stone, and I'm an inspector for the Board of Education." And so essentially she wants to come and see how Xavier's school is working. And he goes, this isn't a good time. You might want to come back in a month or so. Mr. Logan, I have the authority to conduct my inspection now, and I will complete it today. Now, if you could be so kind as to show me your student buildings. Why is it so warm up here? Because, again, it's middle of winter, storms, abilities are making it hot. And so even though it's kind of silly, it makes you laugh. And then again, we get another one of those meanwhiles. Because before the trial of Gambit, the X-Men were sent to space. I can't remember exactly what happened. It's been a while since I read that arc, but essentially Warbird and Bishop are left in space. And I will admit, them working together was kind of an interesting little bit. And at this point, too, Magneto that we knew is missing, and we're left with a man named Joseph who has no memory of his past. And we kind of see Rogue and him begin to sort of have a relationship. And this was on the heels of the Age of Apocalypse. So we're kind of wondering, will they, won't they, since Gambit is essentially out of her life. And before anything else can happen, as the book comes to an end, temperatures are flaring. We realize that Sauron, Karl Lycos, is back in the mix. So we're wondering, was it him that had the machinations of what's going on with Rogue? Is it Gambit's memories that are messing with her? We don't know. Uncanny X-Men 353. It may not be Claremont or Scott Liddell style X-Men writing, but I still had a lot of fun with this book. Chris Bachalo, at this time, his artwork was still, like, I'm not trying to bash the man, but was still relatively tolerable. It was new, it was fresh. The newer stuff now, not so much. But still, if you're an X-Men fan, this is definitely one that you want in your collection. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen, please, first and foremost, support your local comic shop, wherever it is you get your action figures and comics, and pick up this issue. If you've enjoyed this review, really would appreciate taking a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little Wolverine bell, next subscribe. That way we can upload content. You guys get notified. Come to the channel. We love talking with y'all and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments or the socials, which I'll make sure the links down in the description. So with all that said, hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone.